to be candid, let's say that the warming up of the relationship between us and several Arab countries by itself is very important. It's beneficial for all sides, whether it will be Arabs or Israelis. Secondly, we have seen a very tense relationship between us and Jordan for the last few years, with no kind of deep crisis. So this government says that better will be to warm up, to make a certain rapprochement, let's say, between Israel and the Jordanians, and it works very well. The other thing which is very important is, and you have to take this in mind, that President Herzog, Isaac Herzog, met the king only with the coordination and the consent of the government. This is something which did not exist before with the last government. So there is no tension inside Israel, whether he is talking or meeting the king, or tomorrow he will go and meet Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in Egypt, or he talked to Erdogan, or he sent a letter to the king of Morocco. Everything has been done with the consent and coordination of the government.
Now, what's Jordan's most impactful role vis-a-vis Israel? And on top of that, why the secrecy around each of these high-level visits to Jordan?
Well, this is one point which we have to take into account and to ask His Highness why, to keep it secret and confidential, such kinds of meeting. Well, probably, let's say, offhand, I would say that publishing this kind of meeting, probably the security will say, wait a minute, maybe we will do it in a different way, and you can publish this meeting later on when everybody will go home safe and there will be no problem. Personally, I would prefer, since we have a peace treaty with Jordan, that everything will be done in the sunlight. Everything will be done open with a full transparency. But I think that this will come as soon as the security, the transparency, the stability of this region will come. Secondly, Jordan is important. First of all, we have with Jordan, Israel and Jordan, the longer border that we have between two countries. Secondly, Jordan is at the forefront of any possible penetration of this of terrorism, whether it will be Daesh or ISIS, Iraq. We have to take this into account. So this is a kind of a buffer zone between Israel and terrorism, and this is why it is important. And the third point is the bilateral relations. We still have some few things that we are doing together, and I hope that we can do even more than that for the benefit of the two people. Look, we have a long way to go, but I think the start is very good.
Now, Herzog himself said he plans to play more of a diplomatic role in the region. Where might we see him pop up next?
Well, the first country which comes to my mind is Egypt. Don't forget that there is a lot of expectation about the visit of Prime Minister Bennett to Egypt after the White House. I think it is very important because of the role that Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is playing in the region. Don't forget that we had just, a week ago, a meeting between Jordan, Palestinians, and Egyptians in Cairo. We have seen just a few days before that a meeting in Baghdad where the president of Egypt played a pivotal role in bringing all together several countries in order to save, quote unquote, the situation in Iraq. So there is a role played by Egypt, and I think that the visits at the top level will be very important. Don't forget that Egypt have sent an official invitation to the Prime Minister of Israel. We did not see that, for a long time. So I think that Isaac Herzog, with the consent, again, with the government, he will do nothing in order to infringe, let's say, the relationship between him and the actual government. The next step, let's say, objective will be definitely Egypt, and later on there will be the Emirates, because he sent already a letter of invitation to the King of Morocco. He was in Jordan, and this is the next step that I can foresee in the near future.